Welcome to the Smash series on the milking plant. I'm Noldy Rust, and today we're on the Sweeney farm with Dave Sweeney and Josh Wheeler from QCons. Today we're going to talk about the cups, how they work, and any troubleshooting issues. Let's get into it. So you're going to talk to Josh a little bit about understanding how milk flows through the system out into the vat.
Yeah.
And just a lot of people haven't got a real understanding of how it all works, so we just want to have a little bit of an overview. Okay?
Yeah, that's right. So I think, Josh, if we can start from physically taking the milk out of the cow with the cups, where does the milk go, and then what are the key components as we move down the shed towards the vat, and I guess what are some of the what does good look like as we go down and go through some of those components, and we can maybe squash a few myths along the way and talk about how things work.
Cool. Sounds good. Okay, so just for example here, we're at a milking plant here. We've got a cluster. So in a cluster, we've got a makeup of a liner where the rubber meets the road, really. So the rubber meets the teat. So we've got a liner, we've got a shell, and we've got a cup, basically, or a bowl. And basically all that together is called a cluster. So basically this is what's attaching to the cow. They come in various shapes and sizes. Everyone's got a different design on what you need to get milk out of a cow. Also what you need in terms of weight, but on the New Zealand market it varies from about 4.5 kilos to about 1.6 kilos. You know, what do you want as the person milking? You just want something that's easy to hold, easy to attach, and hangs on to the cow quite well and milks her quite efficiently.
Years ago, we used to put weights on them.
Yeah.
Don't do that anymore, eh?
No, so originally I suppose we've been breeding cows to let down, breeding cows to milk out quicker, so the modern cow doesn't need the weight. We need some weight to get a bit of alignment, so when we put it across here, we need some weight on it when it's up like this to hold it in alignment, but you can achieve that anywhere between 1.8 to 2.2 kilos. I mean, if I said to you now, and this was 4.5 kilos, and you've got to go change 40 of them and do 10 rows, I mean, you're about to lift about a tonne during milking. So you do quite a lot of work if the weight's heavy.
Yeah. And then we have to have shoulder operations when we get a bit older. Right?
Yeah, you did right. Yeah. So the main thing, we've got a range of different liners you buy. You've got squares, you've got rounds. I mean, the liners are basically depend on the size of the teat, the type of cow you're milking, and also how heavy the cluster they're carrying. So the heavier the cluster, you need a wider bore liner to hold on. If you've got a lighter weight cluster, you can have a narrower bore liner. So narrower bore liners typically milk faster than wide bore liners. So there's quite a lot of variation in terms of that. And then we have cavities and all that kind of stuff. But then, so not going too much into the liners, I mean, this cluster here, once we're attaching it to a cow, we're basically using, and we'll talk about this soon, pulsation, which is the opening and closing of the liner. Okay, and then we've got vacuum. So this system would be under vacuum. We'll show you later on where we get to the vacuum pump. But what we're basically trying to do is we're trying to get some suction on to hold on to the cow, and then we're massaging the teat, simulating the calf suckling the cow, and then milk's flowing out into the bowl. We've got an air admission hole, so every cluster's got a small air admission hole, and that's normally anywhere between 0.8 to 1.2, and we use the injection of air here when the milk's in here to push. At the same time, we've got vacuum to pull. So this is a high line herringbone, so we're lifting milk up into this milk line. Whereas if we were a rotary or a low line herringbone, then milk would gravity feed down into the milk line, so we don't need as high a vacuum. Okay. So vacuum level, we talk about that a bit and we'll talk about it later, but vacuum level is based on basically from where the cow stands here to where we have to lift milk to. So if we're lifting milk to here, from here, we run at a higher vacuum than a rotary, where it would have the cow standing here and the milk line's below.
Right.
So this plant might run at 45, 46 kPa, where a rotary could run at 40 to 42. So you do need some vacuum.
Is it correct to say that the lower the vacuum, the better for the teat or not?
Yes. So the lower the vacuum, it's better for teat health, okay? But there is a limit to how low you can go. If you go too low, then you get more cup slip, you get more cups fall off, inconsistent milk out. So like a high-line herringbone has got a minimum. There's some tables in the New Zealand industry that just measures the height of your milk line and it just sets what your vacuum should be. And that's checked normally at your milk machine tests.
Getting back to that, so if we have a case, a lot of the time the bowl fills up with milk and the cups fall off.
Yep.
So that's a case that the air hole is blocked.
Yes.
Is that right? Yep.
So when the air hole's blocked, we're not getting the injection of air, so the bowl can flood and then it falls off. So you've got to keep these
Full
clean.
function, yeah.
Yeah, and they normally have a needle, a pin, or some of them have a bit of wire you can poke them through to make sure they're clean. Sometimes it's just a matter of scraping, and the bit of the dirt on the outside just comes off, and then away we go. We're back
I have
milking.
one last question on this. How often should I change my liners? Because they're not cheap, and
They're not cheap, but they are the thing that hangs on to the cow, so we've got to make sure they're right. The key thing with liners, I suppose, the recommendation is 2,500 cow milkings, okay, for the liner life. They don't exactly die at 2,500. The key thing you're looking for is that, as the liner gets older, we get the mouthpiece gets a bit softer, so we might end up with more cow slip.
Yeah.
And as the liner gets older, it doesn't milk as quickly because it's losing its tension. Because when you put the liner in, you pull it and you get tension. So we want the compression or the tension, the squeeze on the cow that pushes the blood away from the teat and then allows milk to flow again. We need tension. So as it gets older, it loses its tension and then it gets slower to milk. Okay. So those are kind of the signals. If you're getting quite a bit of cup slip, if you're getting liners splitting or breaking, or if you're getting really slow milk out, those might be some of the other signals that decide that you should be changing them.